Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm getting ready to make a set of dominoes. I don't know how popular these dominoes are going to be, but they're going to be the San Francisco 49ers. And I think I have everything I need beside me. So first I will start pouring my resin. Resin comes in two parts, a part A and a part B. You have to you have to have equal amounts of each, and it has to be precise. And if it's not precise, your project or whatever you're going to make is not going to be as hard as it should be. Most times when one is off, your project wind up being soft and you can bend it. Like, let's show you this pen. This pen was not properly poured. The temperature was not probably not properly at the temperature it should be, and that's why it's able to bend. Okay, so I'm going to first pour my B. I mark my cup so I won't go over. That way I will have a precise pour. And if you think that you have poured too much, you can just pour it back in the bottle, because you should pour one at a time. If you think you can see my little mark right here where I marked my cup. So I'm just going to pour back a tiny, teeny bit, because I think I may have went over a little bit. Okay, let's see. Just a little bit more. Okay. And I do not own the rights to the song that's playing in the background. So my first one, I'm going to pour in my cup. Okay. And make sure that you scrape your cup very well, because I'm going to take this cup and I'm going to use it again to pour the second part of my resin. One is resin and one is a hardener. And like I said, it has to be poured precisely. So that's one part. So I'll look for my mark and I'll pour my other half. And it's best to pour it kind of slow. That way you won't have a lot of bubbles. And you won't pour too fast where you will go over. Yes. Now, usually I have my heating mat to help bring the bubbles to the top of your cup, so you can get rid of as many bubbles as you can. You can use isopropyl alcohol. You can use a lighter, but I don't recommend using a torch, because you may burn your resin. Make sure you scrape it as best as you can, and afterwards you spray your cups with alcohol so you can clean them out. Now I have to put on my timer. Hold on one second. Put on my timer. Okay, this one. So You have to stir for 5 minutes. And make sure you scrape the side of the cup as you stir, so you can incorporate both resin and hardener together. Usually 4 to 5 minutes. I usually do 5 minutes to make sure that my resin is really incorporated. And that too can be another problem. If your resin is not stirred properly and it's not incorporated properly, you will also get maybe a soft whatever you're doing. So it's best that you stir slow, and that'll help eliminate bubbles also. And this is the part that I don't like the stirring, but 5 minutes is a long time when you don't feel like really doing it. So has anybody else did any resin projects? I started doing resin last year. I seen some kits on Amazon, and I'm like, let me try and see how I like this. But I usually make like body butters and sugar scrubs, lip gloss. That's what we usually make. But my daughter got into this resin and she loves it. She never had like a hobby, that she can just relax and just relax, because it is relaxing, and it is very satisfying when you are pouring into your molds, and when you get that final project demolded, is very, very satisfying. So in the last few minutes, I might just speed it up, but I just want everybody to get the whole process of making resin items. As I say, make sure you scrape the sides. Sometimes your resin can get stuck to the side. And what I do is I stir, I wipe my spatula, and then I scrape again, and I scrape, and I scrape, and I stir some more. And you might have some micro bubbles. It's very hard to get those out. But if you have any big bubbles, you can even let it set for 5 minutes, and the bubbles will rise to the top. And that way you can take your lighter, preferably the one like you used with the long handle, where you can get like inside the cup and just flicker it into the cup, and the bubbles will pop. But if anybody does this and know how to really get all the bubbles out, please write it in the comments below. Because I am not a pro at this, but I like doing it. And I like the products that I make. And while the resin is setting for 5 minutes, I will show a couple a couple objects that I made. Okay, now, okay, wipe it off, set it to the side, and let it sit for 5 minutes. So I made, I put that there. I made some dominoes for someone, and I have to be careful. I made a set of Philadelphia Eagle dominoes. And I also made some Baltimore Raven ones. It came out pretty good. Gotta be careful. I don't want to put resin on anything. So I do have a little bit of resin here, so I'll wipe that up. Yeah. So I love doing this. And you can be very creative, especially when you're making other items. This right here is pretty basic. I mean, not basic, but it's, it's, you really know what you want to make. If you're going to make something. Oh, dang, I can't show those because it's already packed up. Let's see. I have some sitting here that needs to be put together. So first, let's show you this beautiful bottle opener. This is one of my daughter's projects. And she also has the wine bottle stopper, which she hasn't put together yet, but this is the set. It's pretty. I mean, when you see it, the colors change in the gold. So, also, we have this. They're not put together yet, so I'm trying to hold it so it won't fall. And the stopper that goes with it. And this is the bottle stoppers. I don't know how she did that, but and she got the wrong ones. Yeah, so this one will go on top, and you can use it and put it down into your wine bottle. So let me get my heating pad. So I'm going to let it just sit on there for a couple minutes. So I want to make sure that all the bubbles, well, most of the bubbles come up. Turn it on. As a matter of fact, they're already up top. Just missed it. And it would disperse the bubbles. I wish you could see inside. But you might see some micro bubbles, but you don't see no big bubbles. So I'm gonna let it sit a little bit. So my 5 minutes is almost up, but I do want to sit it on this pad for a few seconds to make sure that we get as many bubbles out as we can. And we're using this eye candy red for the dominoes. For the San Francisco 49 colors of red and gold. But you have to be very careful how much you use because you don't want this too much mica in your resin can also ruin your project. So it's been 5 minutes since it's been sitting, and I just want to heat it up just a tad bit because it's kind of cold. And get my molds. Light down a little bit so I can see. Mix it one more time. And that's it. Also want to spray your, well, I don't have much here, but want to spray your molds, mix your molds. You don't have to spray them. And then you want to add your mica, whatever color you want. I'm adding this red. Okay. Top back on. This stuff when it gets blown on, oh my gosh, it just goes everywhere. So now we're gonna incorporate our very carefully so all the mica can be. You have to make sure that you incorporate your mica because you can wind up sometimes with pieces of the mica into your project, whatever you're making. So you have to be very careful and make sure that it's all dissolved. Sometimes you can see the pieces. Sometimes when I see it, what I do is I'll just smash it and move it around like this so it can be dissolved into the resin. Make sure you scrape your sides. Okay. Now I can start pouring my resin into my mold. And you don't want to overflow your molds, because especially with dominoes, because you're gonna have to dome them. So when you put your logo or whatever you're gonna put onto your dominoes, you have to seal it in so it won't come off. What I do is when I print out my whatever I'm gonna put on here, I'll cover it with lamination, and then I'll cut and put it on a Cricut and print and cut, and then it will come out really nice. So now that my resin is warm, make sure your mold is clean also. So now you start pouring. Let me start from down here so you can see. You start pouring your resin into the mold, and like I say, do not overflow your resin. Do not overflow your molds. Pour slow and evenly. Okay, and that's it.